Constable Alex Marshall. Today we're at the College of Policing conference, and there is a proposal being put forward by yourselves for officers to gain a new qualification. Why do officers need that? And also, given that the leadership review came out in June and there were a lot of recommendations in there which are yet to be realised, why is the college proposing something else already?
Yeah, it fits well with the work of the leadership review that talks about a workforce that needs the skills for the way policing will be in the future, so it's consistent with the leadership review. The starting point is the people who currently work in policing do an increasingly complex job. Look at people dealing with a difficult investigation, look at the people dealing with public protection issues. Quite often the police are chairing a meeting, by the way, making very difficult decisions about protecting people, risk, safeguarding. Everyone else around the table is supported by a degree qualification in their area, but not the police officer. So for the existing workforce, we want them to have the opportunity, if they choose to take it, to have the learning they've already got in policing recognised by a university, and if they want to then pursue that to a degree, a matter for them, but we think people deserve that recognition. Then through our demand work that you'll be familiar with, we've talked about how the nature of policing is changing, and over the next 5 to 10 years will really, again, look very different, and we're saying that future workforce may well be best served by having a practical police-based degree before they join.
Mm-hmm. If this is such an issue for the police service, why didn't it feature at all, as far as I'm aware, in the leadership review itself?
Well, the skills and education of the future workforce did feature in the leadership review.
But this, I mean, there was a lot of specific recommendations in there. This could have been one of them, but it was decided not to be.
Well, the leadership review talked about what are the changes in society and in technology and in people being online and migration patterns, and it said we need a different type of leadership for the future, and all forms of leadership development need to be reviewed and probably changed to make sure they're fit for purpose in a very different future. This is a very natural extension of that. We carried on saying, therefore, if that's the workforce we need for the future, different skill set, different mix of skills, the ability where people choose to leave policing and come back in at different points, looking at the educational requirements is a natural extension of that.
Okay, and we heard earlier at the conference that there are a lot of things to be developed and ironed out with this proposal, but one of the things we did hear was that the college would seek, if officers who currently don't have qualifications wanted to get this qualification, seek to help them do that. Would we not be in a situation where we've got sort of a second-class type of officer then? If you don't want to get this qualification, you're going to be overlooked for promotion potentially from a peer who has it.
We make no link between the two. We're saying people, and by the way, lots of people who currently work in policing have a degree, and when you look at people joining the police, in some forces a third to a half of the people joining already have a degree. Having a degree in policing is hardly a revolution. Let's just be careful about that. We think the people who work in policing do a very complex job. It's increasingly complex. The simplest of investigations now has a complex online aspect. So a fight outside a pub where someone's punched on the nose used to have a victim, someone who's punched them, pool of blood and a doctor's statement. Now, as well as all that, still there, you've got an online investigation. You've got 3 people have tweeted it, someone's filmed it on their mobile phone, maybe the perpetrators confessed to it on Facebook. Even that simple fight outside a pub can now be a much more complex online investigation. That's before we get into difficult fraud cases, child abuse cases, and the increase in policing in public protection that you can see through our demand work. We're saying those people are working at degree level now, it's just they haven't had the chance to have those skills recognised. We think there'll be universities, good quality universities, who want to recognise their prior learning, and we should give people in policing the chance to have their skills recognised. Nothing to do with having 2 classes of people in policing, it's about recognising the skill level people are working at.
And given that the college would have a role in training the existing officers in this framework, and given that you're a professional and training body also coming up with ideas, I mean, a cynic might say that it's very much in your interest as a training provider to be able to offer these qualifications to officers? I mean,
So, as I was explaining earlier, we're talking to universities, and it would be the universities who would recognise the prior learning that people have got, and it would be the universities, if someone chooses to do it, who would then see them complete a degree. We're not offering that.
Okay.
Training is a limited part of what we do. Our main responsibilities in policing are about setting standards, building the evidence base, and we set the educational requirement. We're not a big training provider. Most training in policing is done by other people.
because I think your speaker said it would be, or implied that it would be the college that would help to train existing officers who are already in the police service with this framework.
No, it would be the college that will be working with universities to say, will this university recognise what they've already done as their accredited prior learning? Some of what people learn now is trained by the college. Some specialist areas, covert policing methods, various things are trained by the college. Most training in policing is not done by the college. What we should be about is saying, what does the curriculum look like? What should the learning outcomes be? And increasingly accrediting the providers of training, not being the trainers ourselves. That's not a main part of what we do.
Okay. And why are we yet to see elements of the leadership review proposals in there come to fruition in the police force?
Well, the leadership review was published a short few months ago. We've now established an oversight group from all parts of policing to deliver the 10 recommendations. So, for example, the Federation are on there, the superintendents, the Metropolitan Police is one of the biggest players in this, the college, the chiefs, the Home Office, police and crime commissioners, and we're now seeing through the delivery of the 10 recommendations. I'd say it's very much on track.
Mm-hmm. And when will we see some examples of those coming into being, do you think?
I think different parts of them will appear at different times, so the complete review of the leadership development is happening now. Recommendation 1 was that Chief Constables should set an example around continuing professional development, and last week at Chief Constables Council they agreed a new form of continuing professional development for Chief Constables, and I've written out to all forces notifying them how that will operate in the last few days. So recommendation 1 is already well on the way to being delivered. All the others are at different stages of delivery and very much on track.